Buffalo Hearts. I felt that I was taken to the center of the earth. There was snow everywhere. It was a crystal world with rainbow lights glistening off the crystals. For all its beauty, it was awfully cold. I could not get warm. Then a buffalo appeared before me, a red buffalo. It seemed I was able to communicate with it telepathically. I remember having the distinct knowing that I was going to get upon its back. The buffalo was galloping, but the ride was very smooth and I had no trouble holding onto its fur. It galloped through a mist of light, then stopped at what appeared to be a meadow. I got off the buffalo and turned to look straight into its eyes. I was overcome with a tremendous sense of sadness. I felt very alone, very alone. I looked around the meadow and saw a shadow moving across the land before me. I looked up at the sky, and in an instant, it began to turn back. It was like a bleed in a movie. It just got very black very quickly. Swirling like a surrealistic cloud. Then there was a bright pinprick of red light. I could not take my eyes off it against the blackness of the sky. It seemed to explode and filled the sky in a bright scarlet red color. I felt rain again. As I looked down upon my arms and body, the rain was the color of blood. I myself have had an experience like this. Must input. Still blows my mind today. Blood falling from the sky. I shook myself into awareness again, and I could tell that the sun was different, but I could still say it was setting. The light seemed strangely diffused. There was no shading or sense of perspective of distance. It was almost two-dimensional. The light from it burned my flesh where it touched me, and the rain? Well, it was that starch-like jelly that I had experienced earlier. I lost sense of time, but it was turning darker. Yet there was still a red glow like a cold fire in it. The stars were bright red and seemed like eyes staring at me. I could feel the leaving of many souls from this plane, perhaps thousands, perhaps millions. I could feel their screams, yet I could hear nothing except a roaring, or was it more like a tearing sound, like the joint muscles make when skinning an animal? You must tear the sinew away to release a joint. Ugh. Then there was a god-awful stillness, like life itself was holding its breath. I was brought out of my state by the sound of the buffalo, Totonka, Oyate. It was speaking to me through my mind, and it was the grandmother voice again. Its eyes filled with tears, with the expression 500 years of sadness. This is the second thunder, she spoke. Life as mankind has known it will come to an end, but there is still the possibility that he can breathe life into it once again. Just a slight chance. The children of the earth must return to the wilderness. They must seek the shelter of the trees. Here they will find pure water, and that which will sustain them. You must tell them. Some may hear. You must try. The events that lead to this time I will show you so that you will know the signs. Look with your mind's eye into the past. I looked into the nothing and watched, mesmerized by the swirling nature of the void. And again I could hear her voice narrate the vision. It was as if I were being guided. She continued. Mankind has reached the edge of time. It is in the ending of what was, and at the same time, the birthing of what will be. Like the grasses that seemingly die in the winter, they have the ability to renew again in spring, when this season turns into the next. But the life force must come from within the spirit of mankind. They must accept their connection to the whole of life. They can no longer stay within the experience they called life upon the earth. From this point, there is no return, only a movement forward. The people must choose life or choose death. It is by their own actions that they will endure. There is no difference between the children of earth except that which they deem as being so. There is no separation between the children of the earth and the whole of the cosmos. There never was, except in their thoughts. It would be as simple as wishing it to be so recreate the dream in perfect balance, but they believe they cannot, and so it is. I could see many lifetimes and civilizations before me, but I cannot tell you how. It was like I was experiencing a complete life review from the first moment I had ever entered the earth plane. I could feel the connection to all things. It was as if when I moved, everything around me moved in conjunction, although I could not feel it. It was a liquid world, like soft jelly, yet everything was connected. If I moved too fast, then there were little whirlwinds, and in that area, for a moment, everything got blurry. Then it would return to normal. Then I heard the voice again, softly narrating. In the state of believing yourself separate, you have lost touch with the nature of your true reality. You no longer have enough light sticking to your essence to hold the consciousness that keeps your creation alive and intact. It was only given the life force you projected to it. No more, no less. In that moment, you are no more than an emanation of your true self, unable to truly feel or express emotions, only depression, anger, and rage. Therefore, you believe life to be boring, unliving thing, instead of the miracle it is. You created it through thought and gave it life force through the will of the Creator that is in each and every one of you. Turning a thought into a living experience is truly a miracle. Bear, what you doing, crazy pants? You have created it so well that you became lost in its creation and out of touch with yourself. It is like you dozed off at the wheel. You have lost control of the dream, and it cannot exist without your love, your thought forms. So, it is becoming a no thing as you decree it is to be so. We have an agreement, your people and my people. It is this agreement that has kept the people so close to the Oyate Tatankawakan, the Buffalo Nation. This is why the calf woman, Bitsanwe, came to you with the sacred rites. It is very ancient and goes back to when we first created this world together. Can you remember? Things started to move again. I heard the music of the spheres, and there was a specific tone that somehow I was feeling as well as hearing. It was like a pulsing went through the fabric of the entire reality of wherever I was. I began to feel as if I was leaving my body. It was not unlike an ascension, and somehow I knew that. It was more like my molecules were separating and moving outward from my core. Then I went through that swirly void again, the violet, white, and pink hues surrounding me. I felt elated and lost any sense of time that I usually have. Then, my thoughts of myself having the experience were stopped by the sound of grandmother's voice speaking once again. The red sky you are seeing is the womb of the Earth Mother in creation. You are witnessing the mother in her moontime. She is preparing the new egg within her belly for the conception of the new consciousness. She is much like a pregnant woman and must be allowed to go through her mood swings and changes without interference. We are all intimately a part of her dream. Our thoughts, our emotions, our feelings can all be felt by her. As we turn to feel and react to her changes as intimately as if they were our own. She continues, when we connect with her consciously and connect to her with our intent, this is the point when her dream creation can take place and a new life can be born. Mankind does not have to end. They can create a new dream while reconnecting to the source of all that they are. What she is allowing us to experience is the nature of creation itself taking place. It is like when you look up into the sky and for a moment, staring at the sun, you close your eyes and you can see the red of her blood. Then everything moves to apparent darkness. But there really is no darkness, for even in the void there is light. It just has a different nature than you normally would perceive. It requires you to engage your second attention, for it is your thoughts which activate the awareness that you are, which enables the void to express itself, activated by your desires, the living dream of experience. Grandmother continues, this is one of the reasons that you are such a miracle. You do with your thought what others in this universe who are not the mother's children can do only with technology. But even they cannot give something the life force. Only your species can do that. No other life essence can create life in such a manner except Source itself. You are the reflection of that Source in all its glory. But there is a great sadness in your beingness at this time. This sadness is felt by every living thing. Yet it seems that it is only the two-legged who does not know what the feeling is about. Grandmother continues, two-leggeds, for the most part, have forgotten what they are, and that they are part of the whole of all that is. If you have somehow gotten lost in the nature of your own creations, and have lost the awareness that you yourself are the source of all that you experience, it is in the emotion of love that you have forgotten. You no longer embrace the miracle of yourself. So how could you see the miracle of all that is around you? Humanity, therefore, dances in its own madness, born of feeling separate from the source. Along this black path, you have lost your ability to be in the state of love. As a result of your dilemma, and the life force upon Mother Earth is waning. The dream that you have known all these centuries is fading, and with it, all that is within the concept of the dream could be lost. If you lose the dream will find its own place, for nothing dies. It only moves on to become another thought form. But the dream was so carefully created through the love of mankind that to lose it would be a great sadness. You could take another form, and you have, and often do. But it is hard to leave the feeling of this creation, for it is indeed unique throughout the whole of the universe. There is none other quite like this emerald jewel that she is. Come, do not slumber. It is time that I take you to witness the third thunder.